Hello, good morning, good evening, good afternoon. My name is Chris Legaspi, and today we're going to begin a brand new series of live stream classes. This series is called Skills to Pay the Bills. And what this is a series of drawing and design skills that um, I've found that I use the most that help me to to have success in my career and also getting to know some of the best artists and most successful artists that I know that I've mentored with. A lot of these skills also that we have in common, and a lot of these skills apply to directly apply to movie poster work, which is what I do now. And in general, they're just general sound skills needed to do beautiful, realistic art, no matter what your application. But there will be a direct correlation to movie poster art, book covers, realism, that kind of thing. So thank you for joining me today. I really appreciate it. If you just joined me for the first time, you're watching live or on replay, comment below. Let me know, where are you located? Where are you watching from? I'm currently in Thailand. It's 9 in the evening for me. And before we begin, if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to my free Insiders Club. Insiders Club members get first access to these weekly live streams, and you also get access to other live events, and you get discounts on courses and programs, along with access to free lessons and other free content available only to subscribers. So all you have to do is go to www.drawwithchris.com, and there you can enter your email and you'll be good to go. Okay, so skills to pay the bills. So we're going to cover a variety of skills. We're going to start with some head drawing related skills. And the first skill number one, skills to pay the bills. And these are in no particular order. Skill number one is drawing and inventing heads in any position or camera angle. So this is a very important skill, obviously, to be able to draw a head looking up, looking down, looking any direction, and any camera angle. Sometimes the camera angle will be above the model, so you'll be looking down. Sometimes you'll be below the actor or the model, so you'll be looking up at them. That's a very difficult position to draw. So it is an absolute requirement for any realist, and for movie posters specifically. 80% of the work we do is heads and faces. So you got to be able to draw them in any position, in any angle, and even, you will get reference when you get an assignment. I've gotten reference. Also, you have to um, dig up your own reference as well. But and it does help, obviously. But there will be times when you don't have reference, so you will have to invent a head from imagination, and that's what we're going to cover today. These are the exercises that are great for developing this skill. So I'm going to demonstrate some exercises to help you build this skill. First exercise will be a warm-up exercise. We're going to do freehand perspective boxes. Then we're going to do a second warm-up exercise. This will be freehand perspective boxes with crosshairs. And then the third exercise will be inventing Loomis heads. And we'll go into detail on what these are specifically. And finally, we'll do some head construction studies from a couple of different angles, depending on how much time we have. We'll go through different angles. So let's begin. Okay, the first exercise is, this is a warm-up exercise, and it's freehand perspective boxes. And here's an example of it on screen here. Just some sketching that I did earlier today. And um, the point of this exercise is to help you warm up and to get you in the groove to help you develop your perspective drawing skills. Okay, so I'm going to demonstrate and you can draw along with me. So if you have your pencil and paper ready, and really it's just literally like you saw, and I'm sure you've done this exercise, you've seen it before. And it's can be a lot of fun, obviously, if you play with it and you practice. You know, we need perspective drawing, uh, and this kind of gets you in the groove to do perspective drawing. And you don't have to be perfect. They don't have to be perfectly lined up. You know, starting to do rectangles already. One thing that I would recommend if you're doing this is start with perfect cubes. So cubes are symmetrical, and try to draw them in different positions in perspective. Um, you know, imagine, you know, you're drawing a face, drawing a head, looking up or looking down, looking to the side, and that face can take the form of a cube. So it's just a great way to warm up. Nothing serious. Don't take it seriously here. And you want to fill a sketchbook page. You know, I typically draw on ordinary printer paper. Just the cheap office paper is fun, or whatever your sketchbook is. So fill a page in your sketchbook. Be like an A4 size would be fine, or larger, you know, if you're really ambitious. And then once you get comfortable with drawing cubes, I already started doing it. Start to play with um, start to play with rectangles, stretch them out, wide boxes. And then also play with the vanishing points, because it's just a great way to get you warmed up to do perspective drawing. We're not going to be doing hardcore perspective drawing, obviously, and you won't need that to draw faces in perspective, but it's just a great way to just a great way to warm up. And again, there's no rules. It's really just getting your hand moving and getting your mind used to perspective, because we're gonna get to more complex forms, obviously, like the human head. Uh, that's the goal. So we start with these cubes to get us warmed up, get us in a groove, get our minds right. All right, so obviously you can fill a whole page of these. Take your time, get in a good rhythm. So yeah, definitely want to fill a whole page. This is just a small example, and play with a variety of sizes, stretch them out, make them wide and things, and play with various vanishing points. Okay, exercise number 2 is the evolution of the freehand perspective boxes. Now we're going to do freehand perspective box with the crosshairs. And crosshairs is what I call the two lines that define vertical and horizontal center of a face. Your head roughly fits in a cube. It's quite symmetrical if you know where the landmarks are, and the center of the cube is the eyes. Center of the head cube, simple abstraction, and then the vertical center goes obviously to the center of your face. And also on the side we have um, the box. If we split the box in half, the vertical center will help us locate the ear. Horizontal center will also help us place the ear. And you'll see that as I demonstrate. But this demonstration here, this page is by Andrew Loomis. We're going to look at him quite a bit today, and you can see like this image on the bottom, vertical center and horizontal center being applied there. Here's what I call the Loomis head here, this little thing on the right. That's pretty much what we're after, and I'm going to demonstrate now what that looks like. Okay, so just like warm-up number 2, I'm going to play with heads looking up, looking down, start with a cube. Now, the cube, to get the next step of this warm-up exercise, let's say this is the face here on the right. What we want is to cut that in half, symmetrical, even, vertically, cut it in half horizontally, and follow that along. Now this face, you also want to cut that in half. So this is also some perspective practice, knowing you know how to divide a plane in perspective. And then once you have that, this vertical center is actually where your eyes can begin. So I just like to do that, put a little notch, little hatch mark there, and a little notch for the nose. And then on the side, I include the ear at the where they intersect. So that's a real important landmark. I go into this more in detail in my head drawing foundation classes. Spend a whole week on this subject, but basically the ear is at the exact center of the side of your head. So and it lines up nicely with the center of the eyes. So horizontal center gives us center of the eyes and the ear connection. So it's a fantastic landmark. And that's pretty much it for this exercise. That's all you need to do. Again, it's a little bit of a warm up. So play with perfect symmetrical cubes at first. Get your hand used to perspective. Whatever side you want to choose to be the face, cut that in half vertically, cut it in half horizontally. The horizontal, you also follow it to one side. And then at that side, you cut that in half as well. You can also go up top. And then once you have these guidelines, these are the crosshairs that I mentioned. Now you have the beginning of your alignments, your placement and your alignments. And that's one of the benefits of this exercise. Besides warming up your drawing hand and developing your perspective drawing skills, you will practice basic proportions in perspective. You know, the center of the head, the eye line will change depending the distance of the eye line from the top and distance from the eye line to the bottom will change depending on the perspective. So it helps you to practice your basic proportions and also helps you practice your alignments, right? Because I've found that one of the keys to getting realism quickly and to getting an accurate likeness is to have very, very good alignment. And this will help you do that because you know that the horizontal center will help you find both the eyes and the ears, and that alignment will give you a really nice start to your heads. So it's just, again, just warming up, getting you used. And then start to play with various sizes and things like that. Make longer ones, fatter ones, wider ones. So just fill the whole page. This is the upshot one. It's always tricky. And you're watching me like, you see how quickly I can just confidently, okay, that's the center of that plane. That didn't come overnight. So that's part of the training is to, again, help you develop that skill, that sense of observation, knowing that, oh, okay, if I have a cube and the head does fit roughly into a cube, I need to divide the planes into even quarters. I know that um, the measurements will change when the cube is in perspective. So you got to be aware of that, and you got to practice that really. Let me try to draw one more wide box head. This head won't make any sense, but it's okay. It's just part of the practice. And this is literally, the foundation of my process for drawing heads in various angles and positions. Let me draw one more long face with a bit of a severe perspective, a little bit of 3-point going there. And you don't have to like be perfect and measure. In fact, I don't want you to use a ruler at all because this is not about that. It's not about drawing architecture. We're going to use this exercise to help us draw the human head, organic thing. So take your time here, practice, get warmed up, and then when you're ready, when you fill your page, move on to the next exercise. Next, exercise number 3 is to invent Loomis heads in various positions. What is a Loomis head? Well, Andrew Loomis was arguably one of the greatest teachers, American teachers, famous. He's also a wonderful illustrator and very famous for teaching some of the most successful artists and illustrators um, at his time. And the Loomis head is basically his construction model. I'm not sure if he invented it, but it's a wonderful construction model. Basically, it looks like this here on the left. Here, both these pages are from Andrew Loomis' book, and we're not going to go too detailed. We're going to keep these more of a construction idea, a boxy idea, but they're essentially this. They're kind of like a skull. You can think of it as a simplified skull. So I'm going to go through the process now. So there's a couple ways to draw the Loomis head. Well, I'm just going to draw one first so you see what it looks like. And you can just watch for now, and then when we'll do this exercise together as a draw along. So that's the framework of it. It kind of looks like a whistle, kind of one of these old school whistles, or any Star Wars fans out there. It looks like the Boba Fett ship. I believe it's called Slave One, Boba Fett ship. For the Star Wars fans. But anyway, it's kind of roughly like this. And then what we'll do is we're going to develop it even more. First, find vertical center, find the brow line, which is just a little bit above vertical center, just like, vertical center is where the center of your eyes are. And then the brow line, you can just tell on your face, is where the right above your eye line. And then you could also draw a little barrel for the mouth. And that's that's as far as we're going to take our Loomis head. So it is a little bit more involved. Um, so that's one way to do it is start with a sphere. This is sort of what Loomis described in his book. Start with a sphere. So this is like the skull, the cranium, and then add your jawbone. So this kind of looks roughly like a skull. So this be your jawbone that extends up from your cheek, then curves around to the side of your head. Then from here, you can find the vertical center. And remember, vertical center goes back. And vertical center gives us the eye line. Then we find horizontal center. Horizontal center helps us to line up the nose. So draw a little notch for your nose, or you can draw the nose as a triangular wedge if you want to put some more planes on it. And then draw the brow line, and then the brow line, and then the eye socket. So it's kind of like these little sunglasses. And now you're gonna have to narrow from your original drawing, refine the shape of the chin. You can drop the ear. Actually, we don't need to drop the ear for these, although you can. It's, and then that's pretty much it. And then the mouth barrel can look like that, or you can do it like that. So that's one way. Another way is you could also start with a box. I'm going to make one going the other way. So let's say, remember the cube exercise that we just did? All of this is starting to come together. So start with a cube. Then what I like to do is add a little cylinder or a barrel up top. And then the bottom, right in the horizontal vertical center, if you curve it in slightly, it'll give you the curve of the jawline. And then you taper in. This will be the jawline, right? Taper that in. And then now you have vertical center, horizontal center, right? Little notch for eyes, the nose, brow line, eye socket. So I'm just carving into my shape. That's all we're doing, practicing the carving here a little bit. And from there, turn the nose into and then draw the barrel of the mouth. It's basically a half cylinder. So that's one way to approach it, is starting with the box. I like this way with the sphere, this starting with the sphere. Okay, so I'm going to do a couple examples of this exercise. These are going to take a lot longer, so take your time. I'm going to start with one looking up. So do you have the Loomis book? Comment below. It's a very old and famous book. Just recently got re-released. It's an iconic book, Drawing the Head and Hands by Andrew Loomis. He's an iconic teacher. The Loomis head is very iconic. And you can see how this will directly help me draw the head in perspective, because we're already getting a nice, good construction. A little bit of a neck there just to give me some idea what's going on. And that's pretty much it for that view. That's a tough view. Let's do one looking straight down. What would that look like? And if you're not confident yet in your construction skills and your perspective drawing or your understanding of perspective, don't think you have to go to a super ambitious, like the one above, looking up. Practice more, less challenging ones. Obviously, this is looking up and looking down is the hardest pose to draw, in my opinion. I think many people would also agree that it's such a tricky pose to get right. So we have to find as many tools as we can. And this is just one of many tools. Okay, so that's looking down. Let me see one looking to the right, and then we'll move on with the demonstration. Ear and barrel the mouth. That's my nice little Loomis head there. So it's a perfect profile view, which is really tough, actually. Okay, so Phil, go ahead and fill your page with these invented Loomis heads. This should be more, a lot more involved than the boxes, obviously. And this could give you a nice, good workout as well. I'm kind of sweating actually after doing this. So it's a lot of work actually. So it's a really good exercise to get you warmed up and get you dialed in to draw the head in perspective. Okay, our final exercise is to do head constructions. So this exercise is, we're not going to do finished heads. We're just going to do a lot of constructions, and specifically constructions in some of the more difficult poses if you can. Again, if you're just starting out and you're not as confident and you're kind of new to head drawing, don't don't think you have to do the super difficult upshot or downshot right away. It's a tough pose. You will get there. It's necessary, but in the beginning, um, you don't need to push yourself too hard. You just really want to practice and get repetition on the construction. Okay, so head construction in various positions. Um, what are the goals, the benefits? Obviously, number one, we want to develop perspective drawing skills, right? That's we've been leading up to, starting with the boxes and now with the Loomis head. They all follow perspective because they're geometric forms. Even an organic head, if we use box model or box forms or even cylinder forms and eggs, they also have perspective. So we got to develop that. And then we got to develop our head construction skills. So head construction is basically the art of using simple geometric forms to represent and define and describe complex and organic forms like like organic things like human beings, faces, heads, figures, animals, and things like that. So that's what construction is. And we want to practice placement and alignment of features. Um, Obviously, like I mentioned earlier, one of the ways to get realism, one of the ways to get accurate likeness is you have to have accurate alignment. And for me, that starts with the crosshairs, horizontal center, which is the eye line and the ear line, and the vertical center. And they got to be at a 90-degree angle. That's what this diagram here represents on the left. 90-degree angle. So, you know, you won't be able to draw it quickly or efficiently or correctly overnight. You got to put them hours in, and this is how we do it. So practice placing features in the alignment, and finally practice drawing for shortened proportions. Like I mentioned, when the head is turned up or turned down, the distances start to change because of foreshortening, right? The distance from the eyes to the forehead or the hairline will change depending on if its head is looking up or looking down or straight ahead, and vice versa. Distance from the eye line to the bottom of the nose or the eye line to the bottom of the chin, the bottom of your head will change depending on the foreshortening. So we gotta practice that. We got to get used to that. We got to get familiar with it. So this is one way to get there, is to do head constructions. And this here represents, this is pretty much as far as we're going to take it. I'm not going to do a finished drawing by any means. Just practice, practice, practice the head drawing process, the construction process. Okay, I'm going to go through 3 examples. And first one will be a side view. So I'm going to do a nice construction, kind of give myself a little Loomis head there. And again, I'm not going to do a finished drawing. What I want is to just practice perspective, practice the process, practice construction, practice drawing the crosshairs, vertical center, horizontal center. Okay, so this one is a nice, clean and crisp side view, not too much lateral movement. It's an easy one, it's a gimme. But we can see that, see the box here on the, and then the eye line here, the connection of the ear to your face right there. So really nice. Planes now, and forgive me if you're new to this concept. I'm not going to go into the actual construction process. It's basically going to evolve a lot from the Loomis head. Just take the Loomis head and we're going to evolve it. So you may, I'm not going to talk through the whole thing, just show you, you know, what I feel is a good exercise. But I do have lots of free content on my YouTube channel. I have actually a free mini course on head drawing. You can download that on my website. And I also have a full 8-week program on head drawing. It's a really nice, in-depth. It's over 16 hours. Okay, so I got the construction. I got, you know, feel pretty good about it. I'm going to add some of her hair details. Really, what I want to show is the, you know, do I commute? Does my little construction drawing? I know it's very, you know, it's just a construction drawing. It's not complete by any means. Does it read as a, you know, as a person with, you know, a rectangular sort of head type? Does it read as a person of this head type looking to the right? And I would argue it does. So that's the goal. If you can get the read, communicate the position and the camera angle. Right now the camera angle is pretty basic, so not too much work there. And I'm starting to go a little too deep into the process here, so I'm going to move on. But that's really it. That is it for this example of looking to the side. I think as a construction drawing, it's successful. I think even at this stage, I think we get a little bit of likeness. I mean, things need to be pushed and pulled, and obviously with things need to be pushed and pulled, and obviously with detail, it'll look even better. Like once you start to add, you know, the eyes and things like that. But we don't need to go there. I just having fun. Okay. All right. So that's a side view. Let's move on to the next Next example. Okay, head looking down. Let's see. Let's practice our construction skills. So I'm going to sort of do the shape first. I just very confident this way. Now, let me quickly plot my vertical and horizontal center. Then I'm going to take a minute and check myself. I think I already have a little bit of a problem here, but let me see if, remember, eye line gives us the ear. So we got to practice that. The ear is the vertical center of the side of the head. Ear will also give us the nice rhythm. Okay, so one thing that's really, really helpful is to check your crosshairs. Remember, crosshairs is the vertical center of the face and the intersection of the vertical center and the horizontal center is the crosshairs, and they are perfect 90 degrees. Now, why is that important? 90 degrees, perfect alignment. Well, because if I'm trying to get realism and accuracy, and I want to communicate this actress, this model looking down, and I want that accuracy, I want that realism, I want that likeness. We got to get the proportions right. We got to get the placement of his or her features right. And that begins with the alignment of the crosshairs. And right now, my drawing is pretty good, right? Right. Has pretty nice alignments, accurate to the reference, so that's good. Accurate to the position, so I feel confident moving forward. Give myself a little nose there. Hairline here. And hairline just helps me to locate things, place things, compare shapes. Let me flesh out her head a little bit by giving her some hair. A little bit of neck and shoulders here. So don't want to get too carried away with detail. But okay, so I feel pretty good. The brow line is there. Remember, the Loomis model is basically the cube with some features, the brow line cut out, and then this is the muzzle of the mouth. You can draw the mouth like this underneath the nose, or you can draw the mouth like this as a barrel. Either way, either construction works fine as long as the angles and the placement are correct. That's all that matters. So, you know, I feel pretty good about this construction. Obviously, it's just a construction, But you know, the more of these you do, the more accurate you'll be, and the more you'll be able to uh, correct yourself. Like right now, I'm scanning it and I go, okay, there's a couple things that not perfect accuracy that it can be refined, but that's okay. You know, that's part of this. The beauty of this exercise, it'll train your eye as well to look for angles, to look for correct shapes and placement. All right, so I feel pretty good about that. I'm going to move on to the next example. Okay, this will be our last example. And head looking up, obviously, save the most difficult for last. I think a lot of people will agree that this is the most difficult pose. So comment below if you too have difficulty with this pose, the upshot. Or maybe you have difficulty with side view. Comment below. Let me know which angle and position you're struggling with. So I got the basic shape there. It's sort of like a blocky. When I look at him, I see this kind of shape. Remember the box model? There's a reason why you want to practice drawing boxes in perspective, because it does apply. It does directly apply. So I got a nice little framework. I'm going to go ahead and check my angles real quick. So I'm going to do a little tracing. So that's vertical center there, and horizontal center right through the eyes, through the tear ducts. It leads to the ear. So this is a perfect right angle. How am I doing? I think mine's pretty good. Man, got lucky today. Actually, it's not luck. I preparing for this class, I did a bunch of little boxes of my own, and for one of my movie poster classes, I also had to demonstrate the boxes. So yeah, these exercises definitely apply. Okay, so my angles are good. I'm going to move forward. Uh, find a brow, find a brow line. Going to give myself the triangular wedge shape of the nose. Looks like a door stopper, basically. The mouth. Not going to draw any detail. I just want to. This is the barrel. Excuse me, the muzzle of the mouth. I'm going to ghost in some eyes just so it can help me with the. When I draw eyes, I draw spheres, little balls. Okay, and his cheekbone is quite prominent here. I'm starting to see this actor everywhere now. My God, Mr. Batista there. And in this reference, he's bald, so that's does make it easier. I do recommend that if you're starting out, that it's obviously gonna be the bald heads and men specifically, kind of like older men, like 40s and above, a little bit easier to draw, in my opinion. So they make great practice. And um, men and And hair does add just one more level of complexity. It's fun to draw, but if you're starting out, it does make your life a little bit easier to draw bald heads and faces there. So that's pretty much it. I think as a construction, I'm pretty happy with that. Um, One thing I'm just going to show you, we have a little bit of time. This is our last demo. And then the next evolution would be to refine the shape, add what I call the value shapes, secondary shapes. And what you're watching is exactly what I do on a daily basis when I get a movie poster assignment. Um, I would say out of every 10 um, heads I do, or 10 poster concepts I do, um, at least one will be looking up or be low angle. They call it low angle or worm's eye view, where the camera is beneath. So this is a very, 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 very common in the in my line of work, and that's pretty much it. Got some beard detail, but he doesn't have any hair, so I just wanted to show you guys where this is leading up to. This isn't just, we're not just drawing boxes because we're third graders. That's all we can draw, but the boxes and the perspective, um, all of it is necessary and useful to be successful in the business. So that's all for this episode. Thank you so much for joining me.